G'day ladies and gents, and welcome to the Super Sabre. This is probably one of my favourite jets in the game right now. It's quite interesting. The fact that the F100 is perhaps one of the fastest jets in the game, combine that with decent air-to-air missiles and very, very good guns. Combine that with decent turn rate, and I say decent, and you'll understand why in a bit. And a couple of other small things, like leading edge slats and good high-speed mobility, a rudder that functions, that's really, really nice. The F100 is probably one of the easier jets to get into at top tier. I would certainly put it at the top for the shortest learning curve. And that's probably why it's found a friend in me, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. Now, the F100 sits at 9.7, so it can see 8.7s, which is quite literally no jet in the game. Although I do think 8.7s should be stuff like the non-BIS, the A5, the Venom. What else could there be? Perhaps the G91R? I haven't actually played the G91R, so I don't know how it functions against this new supersonic jets. That will be really, really interesting to see, actually. Especially considering that, this jet is extremely potent, and it's an extremely strong jet, the G91. Just flying it around stock in test flights and custom battles, I can already see why people are having issues with the G91R. I've never actually flown it myself. I've always stuck to the pre. But anyway, back to the F100. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Everyone else has gone and side climbed. Everyone else. And here I am just sort of YOLO charging in. Now, this is a tactic that I use in 9.0 jets. Every time, without fail. Every 9.0 jet that is speedy. This is simply because all of them, with the exception of, I think, like the MiG-15s, perform way better on the deck than they do at altitude, in terms of just raw speed. If you look at, for example, true airspeed, and you take the MiG-17 the F2 Sabre to 5K, you'll see that it seems to function better. Now, this is just a strategy that I've adopted from these battles, and the reasoning is simple. Everyone else will climb, and everyone has a predictable climb path, which is MiG Alley for the Allies, and they'll go off on their climb. They'll see an F100, and they'll dive down, kill all of their energy that they've just gained, and attempt to chase me. Now, they won't always chase me. Some of them will, and some of them will stick to the deck. Some of them will go back to altitude. But the point is, you've made them turn, and that's already energy that you can gain over them. Now, what I've done now is once I know that there's no one pursuing me, I've zoom climbed up to altitude. And so now I have a total altitude and energy advantage on these guys. All of them. I'm at 500 kilometers per hour and 3,000 meters. And now I decide to dive back down to gain more speed, because this thing is a speed demon. Considering that keeping altitude is not going to be valuable in this match because everyone is at low altitude, I've just decided to play speed. And it pays off. It pays off quite nicely. Because it just turns out that everyone is low speed turn fighting, which is a death sentence in jets. The rule goes, a slow jet is a dead jet. And it is more than visible here, because almost all of my kills are below 1,000 meters. 1,000 meters and 1,000 kilometers per hour. So, I'm picking targets, and basically I'm just looking for priority targets. I can see that F-86 Sabre there, and it's looking juicy. He's looking really, really juicy. And he's in a low-speed maneuver. So, slow jet is a dead jet, and sure enough, that guy dies. It's simple as that. It is literally simple as that. You just look for the slow ones. You play your speed, but at the same time, if you've got someone pursuing you, you have to dump a little bit of speed and perhaps go for a 1v1 or call upon your teammates. but certainly don't turn fight in front of another F100 like that guy. And that's the key with the F86 and the F100 and the Hunter, for example. Jets like this like to play speed, and if you just keep your speed, you'll win, essentially. There are times that you will have to dump that speed in situations like engagements where where the enemy is going so slow, or engagements where you're forced to defensive fly. But for the most part, you will be keeping speed. And if you've got a good team and you've got good support jets like F86s, MiG-15s, MiG-17s, even a couple of MiG-19s, but they're more... I'll get to them in a little bit, but in short, they're more 1v1 fighters, where the F86s are more group fighters, let's say. I might actually make an entire video on that, but we'll see. Now this F86 F2 comes in, and I turn away from him a little bit to try and gain some separation, and then I also give him as little of a target to shoot at as possible. I see a javelin, and I'm sorry, little one, but javelin has to die because it's on the enemy team. Easy head-on. There's nothing the javelin can do. Even if he's traveling at 300 kilometers per hour, he just can't pull out of the way. I've never actually seen a more pathetic jet in my whole life. It's terrible. But I'll probably make a video on that too. And that's pretty much game. You'd think that's pretty much game. I decide to follow this MiG-15 and spray a little bit, miss because I'm bad. But, he's just traveling in a straight line, so easy win. Now, this F2 is back, and he actually seems to be a not shit player. Like, genuinely not shit. And I know I've got my team around me, but I didn't realize that he's actually not that dumb. So he decides to, half take the bait of me turning so that the MiG-15 can take him. But then he realizes better and continues straight on to stay away from that MiG. So I'm getting aggressive here. I really want this kill, pretty much. So yeah, I'm pursuing him instead of returning back to base, which was unwise. Let's just say that. I take a couple of hits because I evade too low, too late, too low, and too slow. What I should have done is I should have picked up more speed and then turned around, given him a low profile, and then just gone back to base. But I just commit to a head-on pass because it seems that he gets a bit fed up, and that's an ace. That's an ace with guns only, all because the enemy is slow. So thank you, Mr. Banjo guy. I can't actually read your name from my little window on Sony Vegas. So thank you for giving me that kill instead of letting the MiG take it. Look, Mum, you're on TV. But yeah, I'm in a bit of a predicament here. I'm out of fuel. I have no fuel, and I'm way too far from my base to make any difference. Now, it seems like all the other F100s are in the same predicament. So, our team has an F100 there who seems to be low on fuel. The enemy has an F100 that seems to be low on fuel. The F100 takes out the F2, who's probably the only guy that had fuel on the team. And just like that, we're on the back foot. We're actually going to lose this because we ran out of fuel. So this F100 is trying to glide towards me. I'm trying to glide towards him. I'm trying to get a lock on him. But if you look at the temperature gauge on my screen, you'll notice that there is no heat signature to give from a dead engine, and so it's just not locking. I give up on that. We get within 2 kilometers of each other, and it's clear at this point that neither of us have an engine. So he goes for the evade, which is probably unwise, and I just commit. Don't care. I'm going to die anyway. I might as well take another one with me. And sure enough, I do. That's 6 kills. And that's my best match in Tier 6 jets so far. 6 kills in the F100. Now, I'm looking for a place to land, and it's just not going to work. But the F100 is actually quite fun if you play it right. if you play with a team, I mean, I would recommend playing with a squad, full stop. But yeah, the F100 is kind of fun, and I kind of like it. Just keep your speed, keep your energy, and you'll be fine. Anyway, ladies and gents, take care, and I'll catch you next time. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you watch your fuel, because it's going to cost you.